Hey guys, it's Maura. In today's video, I want to talk to you about progesterone. I personally use progesterone. I take the pill form, but I just want to teach you guys a little bit about it in case you don't really know what the deal is. So I want to do a little who, what, when, where, why, how much kind of thing to explain all of it. So who produces progesterone? Progesterone is a sex hormone. It is produced both by men and women. So you normally think of progesterone, you think of women, you think of estrogen. But it's actually the precursor to testosterone. So men technically produce progesterone as well. Now, probably not in the same quantities, and it gets more converted to testosterone than in women, but it is still produced by men also. What is progesterone? Like I said, progesterone is a sex hormone. It's a neurosteroid, so the steroid helps the brain processing. It helps with really a ton of things. It helps balance estrogen. So a lot of women, there's the theory that they get estrogen dominant from taking the birth control pill because there is so much estrogen in those types of pills. And there's also the mini pill, which is, they say, just contains progesterone, when in reality it just contains progestins, which are fake hormones that act kind of like progesterone. Now, your body doesn't really react the same way to it, and they're called the mini pill because it's just progestins, not estrogen, but they are a form of birth control, where progesterone actually isn't. So your body doesn't really react the same way. Also, what it is, it can help with endometrial and breast cancer, because those types of cancers primarily feed off of estrogen, and because it balances those estrogen levels, then it can help, basically stop the spread, stop the growth of those types of estrogen feeding cancers. So why do we need progesterone? Loaded question. No. So the majority of the reason why we need progesterone is to help a fertilized egg implant in a woman's body. So, like I said, there are a lot of benefits that don't have to do with having babies, but one of the main reasons why you may get your progesterone levels checked are if you're having inconsistent periods, heavy bleeding, mostly period-related things, or to check if you're ovulating, progesterone levels drop after you ovulate, and that's kind of, I'll talk about the whole when situation there, but their primary objective is to help a fertilized egg implant. It helps kind of feed that fertilized egg and helps it keep in a good environment. And a lot of women that have low progesterone, that can be the reason why they have miscarriages, because of that implantation, and also that helping with the growth once it has implanted, if the progesterone is enough to actually implant. But later on down the road, the baby needs still to have progesterone. So where is progesterone produced? So it's produced in the ovaries, it's produced in the adrenals, and it's produced in the placenta. So inside the ovaries, there's the corpus luteum. I don't know how exactly to say that word, but that's kind of like the shedding of the uterus. It's the cells that produce the progesterone. So obviously in men, they don't have ovaries. They're not going to have a placenta, so their primary source would be from the adrenal glands. But like I said, in women, ovaries, and adrenals, and placenta. Now, when a woman is pregnant, part of the how much, I'll get into that, it produces a lot more progesterone, or should, if there is a viable pregnancy. So when is progesterone produced. So progesterone is produced. So if you think of a normal curve, and then there's that steep drop off, that's when you have your period. So estrogen and progesterone both kind of increase into a steep peak, and then when your progesterone drops off, that's when your period occurs. And now this is as long as you're ovulating correctly, and that's why I said earlier, a lot of times women get their progesterone level checked because they're not ovulating right, or they're not having their periods even maybe at all. And so that's the reason they'll get those levels checked to kind of see what's going on, or if they're having troubles getting pregnant, things like that can all affect periods and being able to get pregnant. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how progesterone is actually made or synthesized, produced. So in the natural form, the real progesterone in the body is produced by the corpus luteum, like I said, the adrenals and the placenta, but not everybody produces that in sufficient quantities. So a lot of people take progesterone. Now there are pills, there's normal capsules, there is sublingual pills. I've taken both. There's also creams, there's also like vaginal inserts, progesterone, basically a pill, and a lot of pregnant women take that, and that's to help basically directly get to the source, the baby, to help it so women won't miscarry if their progesterone levels are low or, borderline. Also, you can get progesterone synthesized, so if you have to take an exogenous form of progesterone, there is bioidentical hormones, so that's kind of with the pills and the creams and the sublinguals. They can be synthesized to mimic, or their chemical structure is very similar to the body's, or exactly the same. Naturally occurring progesterone can be synthesized or extracted, I guess, from the Mexican yam. It is very well known as like the progesterone vegetable, I guess. I've actually looked at a picture of a Mexican yam. I thought it looked like a sweet potato. It does not, absolutely does not look anything like it. It's kind of a really weird, like almost kind of fungus looking thing. So that was interesting, I thought. And next would be, in another way, cholesterol is broken down into pregnenolone, and then that is what's produced into progesterone. So there's a little chemical structure, so it all starts as fats and cholesterols. So if you have an issue breaking down cholesterols and fats, then you could have a progesterone deficiency also. And the last little tidbit I have is how much is produced. I couldn't really find a good amount, like so many milligrams are produced by the body, but I did find that it said 1,000%, 1,000 times more progesterone is produced in pregnant women versus a non-pregnant woman. Obviously, that's if everything's going like it should. But I personally have taken some sublingual amounts. I've taken 50 milligrams like 2 times a day. I've taken 200 milligrams in a pill, just a normal pill. I've taken up to 400 because my levels are actually pretty low to start out with. And that's not everyone, especially, if you're pregnant, you're supposed to be 1,000 times more. So a lot of women, there's even, there's shots that they can take of progesterone. Like I said, there's inserts. There's a lot of ways to up your progesterone, not only just in a pill form, and amounts vary. A little bit about me. I've been taking progesterone, I would say, ever since I was gluten-free, so probably about 5 years, off and on. I didn't take it consistently, especially in the beginning, but it can help me have my periods at this point. I'm not consistently having periods, and I maybe should up my dose of progesterone and also get my progesterone lab levels checked, which I have gotten them checked before, and they were within the range, but it really depends what part of your cycle you are in, where your progesterone levels should be at, if you just had your period, if you're, gearing up to have your period, but it's really hard for me since I don't have regular periods to know which part of the cycle I'm at, and so therefore how much my progesterone level should be. Another side effect, there are some side effects of progesterone. Really, you can't OD of it. You can't, honestly, you can hardly make or take too much progesterone. But one is being very tired and sleepy. So I take my progesterone, especially if you're taking a large dose, right before bed. It will knock you out, almost make you kind of sleepy drunk. But it also helps you sleep really good. So if you have sleep issues, it can knock you out and you can sleep like a baby. At least for a few hours for me, usually like 4 to 6, I'm knocked out pretty good. Another downside, because it is like a precursor to testosterone, you can have acne with it. Now, I already have acne, I already have hormone issues, so I don't know that it really has made my acne any worse, or especially when I up my dose. When I was on the pill, my acne was really good, but that's kind of the one of the benefits of taking the pill is the estrogen, which making your acne better. However, I was in extreme amount of pain, so that really wasn't my, like, oh, don't have acne. Your hips feel like they're being, stabbed with knives, and so I couldn't take the pill anymore, and it just didn't work out for me. So, and I was probably very estrogen dominant at that point. But if you guys have any questions, please comment down below. I will try to tell you guys what I know.